So when you think of Mahabharata and you think of instances of casteism in Mahabharata, what are the examples that come to mind? Ekalavya and Karna. Why aren't we told that all the casteist abuses hurled at Dronacharya when he was in the battlefield? He was constantly being told, "Hey Brahmin, get off the chariot. What are you doing here? This is the place of the Kshatriya." The number of times he was constantly attacked for his caste. Those examples never come to the fore. Why? Because it becomes inconvenient to accept that the feeling of exclusivity and supremacy is not unique to any particular group. Everybody was preserving their own turfs. The warrior was protecting his turf. The mercantile community was protecting its turf. The teaching community was protecting its turf. How many instances do you want from Mahabharata where this has happened? Okay, I'll give you an example from my home state, in that sense, Tamil Nadu. Please do a sample survey of the number of instances of violence against Dalits and identify the number of times a Brahmin was found setting fire to the hut of a Dalit. Find out which communities are involved in this. Please go ahead, do it. Okay? I can show any number of instances where I know for a fact in my own family that Brahmins have not just married non-Brahmins, they've also married who are otherwise called, let's say, Dalits and Shudras. I'll show that from my own family. I would like to see the very same example coming from the group that is called as the OBC group today. How many people are doing it? I'm not in a popularity contest, so anybody can fight with me. You will not be able to beat me in an argument when it comes to facts, so go ahead. I don't care for popularity here. So my point is, you want to talk facts? Here are the facts. 3. The appropriation of this entire history by one individual is perhaps the problem with the way we understand this history today. And the valorization of one particular individual at the expense of a journey of several thousands of years is unbelievable. An individual who is not qualified from a genetics perspective, or from an archaeological perspective, or a linguistics perspective, is somehow being credited with being the repository of all that is related to the caste literature in this country. How is this possible? Would you accept a lawyer speaking on gynecology unless they have some real training to show? I don't have any training in history, which is why I have to compensate in my books through multiple citations, so that I stand on the works of others who are credible. Otherwise, I have really no standing to speak on history as a lay student of history. As a minority, you don't have muscle. And 2, you have bought into the guilt literature heavily. And therefore, you don't find the voice within you to stand up and say, please tell me how long am I going to be saddled with this literature? Where is the cutoff point for this? And how long are others going to benefit at the expense of my bashing? These are some real hard questions to ask. But here's what I would say. There is also the other reality where Vaidika Brahmins continue to gain or continue to have a lot of respect from the community. Relatively, which, let's say, from those segments of the community who are free from the politicization of this issue and who understand the value that comes with that kind of training, who understand what it takes to be a practicing Brahmins, so to speak. But the fact is that number is shrinking constantly. And therefore, I genuinely believe that most of us are free riding on the coattails of the currency of a previous generation without practicing anything. That is equally a reality. If you think of the Brahmin community as the missionary arm of the Hindu society, and there is a sword arm separately, the missionary arm has stopped taking its role seriously. And the day it takes that role seriously, I'm not saying things will change immediately, but people will certainly ask. Because you see, let me also say this. There is an inherent respect in the previous generations because most people were taught by Brahmin teachers at some point. So it calls for some kind of an introspection from our end also, as much as I think that the mirror should be shown to others. But this conversation is so fraught with problems because this dirty linen should not be washed in public. Others will take advantage of it. So it's no more a conversation between members of the same family. There's an outsider constantly waiting to see how can I poach one member of the family. So I think it's not an easy question to answer. But all I can say is hopefully our own conduct and our own commitment to our identity is perhaps the beginning of the movement towards an answer. As long as you think of this as an identity which is legal in nature as opposed to a practicing identity, you may continue to find yourself in this position. Next.